Jung had an experience where he came very close to death. He was in the hospital. I don't really know what the issue was, but he recounted later in a poem that he ascended about 1,000 miles outside of the planet where he could see the whole planet, and he began to get a comprehension of how we manifest behind this veil into something we think of as solid, material existence. Of course, quantum physics has proven that we're all simply energy that is has managed to figure out how to look solid and to create beings that can't see that it's not really solid. So we live as if. In any case, he was starting to get a new and comprehensive understanding of what existence really is. And he said he saw an image floating up from the European area, and he knew right away, this is my doctor. He's coming up to talk to me. And the doctor arrived and said, "You do not have permission to die. You are needed on earth." And he said, immediately the whole vision died, and I was back in the hospital bed. And he said he grieved. He found it very hard to fit back into his body, to fit back into his life. It was depressing. He actually would rather have gone on beyond the veil into the other realm. And he had a glimpse of what that realm was. And he felt that when you have voyaged beyond the physical body and have glimpsed that realm, and then you have to come back, it's like you have to fit this huge eternal spirit in a box, and that we all live in little boxes, and we think that it's indisputable that we are separate. And for some reason, that seems to be a necessity for soul growth to go through this period of a misconception of what existence really is, where we think that we are actually separate beings, separate from the universal cosmic paradigm beyond the veil. Well, if that's true, and I find it fascinating myself, if that's true, then we all have a job to do, which is to look as deeply as we can at all of our assumptions, the assumptions that we are taught as we grow up, and how we are educated away from sensing our soul and what it really wants to do here and needs to do. Well, it's easy to get lost. And you can spend your whole life not really knowing who you are, not really knowing why you're here, not really knowing that you are a much larger being than you're led to believe. We are educated to fit into that box. How would we assess our reality and how would we live it if we weren't fooled into thinking we're these little powerless beings who live only to earn a reputation and to possess things? And how do we get to the point where we think that is reality? The only way you could do it to convince an eternal being that it is that small is to be born as a human baby and learn that it has toes and fingers and can talk and get responses and eat and sleep and have demands and develop an identity. And it takes quite a while to get to the point where you feel you're a solid human being, you're a solid identity. And maybe we never really get there. We kind of talk ourselves into the idea that our name and our culture and our language and our family and our work all mean something. Well, then we discover another layer to existence. And usually that doesn't happen until later in life when we work very hard to develop some kind of solid earthly existence with a name to it. And all of a sudden we start to ask, but what does my life mean? Why am I really here? What am I supposed to be doing other than making enough money to eat? Is this it? And we suspect it's not quite it. There's something else. If we don't listen to something inside of us, we're never going to find out. If we don't listen to these little intimations and intuitions and physical feelings that course through us and give them value, we're never going to know. Unfortunately, our culture teaches us to override those intuitions and those physical feelings. The assumption is, yes, it's painful. Yes, you have to struggle. That's life. Well, then we become insensitive and we become incapable of hearing this calling that is going on from deep inside of us to the real reason we have come into this body. And as long as we can't hear that calling and follow it, we are lost. So, my point is, we have to learn to listen. We have to learn to be sensitive. We have to preserve our sensitivity. And we have to let things hurt us. We have to feel joy. We have to actually respond to life as we naturally do and not suppress it, not to try to form it or redirect it or correct it. We have to let it be and watch it. This is the life force, and the life force flows through us. And if we watch it, we listen to it, and we let it really exist and blossom in us, we could learn something. We could actually figure out what it is that is calling us. What if I were to stop talking about this right now and just let that question drop? Let's do that. Let's see how that works.